gonna be my last long run before I head over to race the Roner 100K next week. Gonna be out for about 2 hours 15 today. Last week I did 3+ hours, steep ups and downs in my 005 here, which is a US 10.5. And I did try out the TPU insoles here, which is from, not this shoe, from the 002. So not going to run in these today. They were great last week, perfect. This is going to be my race setup for next week. I have been meaning to get a long run in the 001 though, so I think I'm going to try it out today. I have some reservations about the heel area. It's been okay on shorter runs, so I'm not overly concerned about kind of messing myself up before the race. I think I'll be okay. But I had a little bit of an idea. You know, this one's 10.5. This I have a 10. This fits exactly, not exactly. Foot feel is I think it's a little bit tighter than my 005 in a US 10. So again, this is a US 10 here. Feels a little snugger, but this lengthwise it's the same, which I do also find a little bit short, like this 005 in a 10. I'm gonna go out with the minor concern about getting irritation here, like a week out from my race. They feel a little snug. I have my kind of regular Smartwool socks on. I thought maybe I would take these out and swap in from the US 10 Nordas. This is the thinner, not the race insole. This is the regular TPE insole here, and put them in here. This is going to give me a little bit more volume. I think 2 hours 15. I wouldn't get too jammed up anyway, but this will give me more volume in the shoe. It'll fit more comparably, I think, to this 10.5 with the thicker insole. So here 10.5 with thicker, this insole right here, and here 10 with the thinner insole from my other 005. So I think it's going to give me a better kind of volume inside this shoe for a longer-ish run. I'm going to lose a little cushion, of course. We'll see how it goes. Here we go. 2:15-ish, give or take. So first section, I'm going to work down there to that intersection and kind of zig back and then go up the hill again. So this is really not meant to be a 001 full review, kind of like experimental, a little bit of talk about the race coming up, gear of course, what I've got going on with fueling, what I'm doing in a kind of last longish run before I head over there in about 8 days time. As you can see, very hot, very dry out here. Not a lot of rain recently. I think race day is gonna be like that, be like this. I did pack those TPU insoles in my vest here, just in case something goes awry or they just feel too firm for me. Okay, another one of these guys. Come on, hurry up. Gotta go. See ya. Okay, that's 3 videos in a row. Come across a snake. So the route today is kind of one big steep climb. It's an out and back, so climb up on the way out, over the top and down to Rocky Canyon Road, turn right back around and come back where I'm headed up now. So how does the insole swap feel so far? Definitely feels firmer, losing that direct TPU on the bottom of the foot cushioning. The TPE of the 005 insole, definitely thinner, not as soft, great and lightweight, and doesn't get like completely paper thin like a regular EVA one would, but it's like no comparison to the cush from the TPU. No real problems so far though, because aside from that first drop in from the trailhead, I'll be heading up for a while, so I shouldn't feel that impact from the thinner insole, at least in the first quarter of this run. So I'm gonna hold my commentary till I get up and over this first big climb on the downhill, be able to catch my breath and talk a little bit easier on the run. Still some pockets of flowers left, kind of the high point of my route. This time up and over that mound
between those trees, and I'll go back down over the other side. Truck is parked down in that lot down there, so I came down first into that gulch, wound up around, kind of came around back this way, and now up there over the top and then back. And no issues at all with the insole swap so far. Like I said, it feels quite good on the way up. I like to have more volume for kind of forefoot spreading, toe splaying when climbing. The thinner 005 insole here gives me that longer way there, less steeper, but we're gonna go for this one. It's short. We'll see if the firmer feel on the descent over the top here is kind of outweighing the positives on the climb here. Very dry and loose here. I'm not sure how much traction I'm gonna get with any shoe. Ah, it tricked me. I knew this was here. This is the top of my route here. This trail goes up that way, but it's not as steep, so I can get higher in elevation, but I want the grade instead. By the way, that's the Aldape summit over there. We ran over in the race to Roby Creek. So from town, up Rocky Canyon Road, up probably about as high as I am right now, maybe a little lower. That diagonal trail right there is the route I did repeats on in the 005s last week. 3 hours I went back and forth kind of like 4 times. It's a good training route too. A little bit of flat on the way down here. A couple things I noticed about the 001 here. I'm definitely getting some sand and little pebbles inside the shoe. Something I looked at in the... Howdy.
Hi, happy trails.
Yep. Something I looked at in the Mafate Speedlight 4 intro. It's just not totally sealed around the collar there. A little bit of space for stuff to get in. Again, I'm out for a little over 2 hours today. If I were racing in this shoe, in this setup, or this shoe with any insole for that matter, I definitely throw a gaiter on. Also, the top fabric of the 005 insole is smoother than the TPU one that comes with the 001 and 002. You have the texture from the beads, but I think the fabric's also a little bit different. This one's smoother. I can feel my foot kind of moving a little, sliding on top of the insole. Just a little bit here. Not really a problem. Could be even better. Less friction, less potential for hot spots, blisters. That's probably up to personal preference, whether you like kind of smoother, slightly slippery insole or something a bit more grabby. For my fueling and hydration on this run, about 2:15 I would say, maybe slightly longer. No water along the way, so I gotta carry everything. I've got 2 16-ounce bottles up front, and I threw an extra 16-ounce salt flask in the back there. Could probably get away with 2, but I should be really drinking more, especially with the race coming up. It's gonna help me be less dehydrated later in the day, recover faster. So that's 32, 48 ounces I'm carrying with me for 2 hours plus, which historically for me is a lot, but based on my H-drop testing and trying to kind of increase my uptake of fluids, it's not a lot. I feel like I do need more, especially probably touching 90 right now, or at least getting there. For gels, I brought 4 gels, 2 calf, precision, 2 SIS gels, so that's 80 plus 60, 140 plus 90 grams of carbs in the bottle. So that puts me at 230 grams if I take everything in, which I'm gonna try to do for about, 215 to 2.5. I think in the race, I want to do more than that, but I'm just, I don't know, feeling kind of heavy, carrying a lot of stuff with me on this run. I'm actually feeling quite good. I checked my training peaks. The last time I did this route, I forgot when it was, but I had a note that my quads were feeling sore, so I didn't go all the way down to Rocky Canyon Road on the way out here. I think right here, I turned around. But since I've been doing a lot of that downhill training, getting into steeper terrain over the past 3-4 weeks or so, actually my quads feel perfectly fine right now. So I feel great, and I'm gonna carry on down here. Kind of smooth, fast running here. I think I ran this part in the Puma DV8 Nitro Elite Trail review. So this is smooth and fast. Fun running until I have to turn around. So let me know down in the comments what you think about this kind of on the run, long run, shoe test, not quite full review. I am actually probably gonna end up touching on a lot of aspects of the shoe that I would cover in a full review, but I am kind of trying to focus on training in this one, so I don't want to stop too much, do the close-ups, that kind of thing. If I have some time and there's something that strikes me that I do need to cover when I get back, I'll do a close-up when I'm done with the run. But yeah, leave me some comments. Of course, if you have not subscribed already, go ahead and do that. Like this video. If you like this format, long run, experimenting, checking out some views around by me, yeah, love to hear from you. Norda has been a great supporter of Humble Running. They just send me some stuff to test. No questions asked. I do have some links below for REI backcountry to some of the Norda shoes. So if you enjoy some of my Norda content and you like to support Humble Running, just click through those links. I'm not sure if you'll find better deals on Norda shoes elsewhere. So if you're thinking of purchasing and you watch my videos and appreciate the work that I put into these, why not just click through those links and help me out. Just hit my turnaround in 107. That feels, not sure exactly, but feels kind of quick. Feel kind of strong. Pop my second gel. I've not drank half of my fluid, so got to get on that. Use this as a chance to really push the fluid and see how much I can deal with in this last hour plus. 0 issues with the heel and the Achilles here. No problems at all. I think this is probably the most rugged route in terms of steepness that I've taken this shoe so far. This shoe was kind of an extra that Norda sent me. So honestly, I've been wearing it more casually because it just looks so good. I do sympathize with you if you have this shoe or you've tried this shoe and that heel Achilles area has given you problems. I could definitely see that based on the design. I'm just really happy right now that I am in whatever percentage it is that does not have that issue, because shoe does feel really nice on the run now. When I go over the top after climbing back up, I catch my breath easier. I'll talk about the ride on the way back. It does feel kind of like a beefed up 002 in the setup I have now with this thinner insole. The 002 has a much thinner stack. Even with that TPU insole, I find that it's very flexy. I definitely notice a lot of stuff, you know, getting through to my forefoot in that shoe in comparison to this one. Especially when I've got the regular stock TPU insole here, this one feels way more cushier than the 002. But as I have it now with the 005 insole, it kind of has maybe a little firmer yet more protective 002 feel to it. The 002 does feel wider though. That shoe I tested a 10 previously and it was very short. They do recommend sizing up in that one. So I have a 10.5 in the 002 and it does feel quite a bit of volume. This 10 feels equal in length to the 002 in 10.5, but I just like the fit here. It's more streamlined. It at least fits my foot better. If you have a wider, higher volume foot, you may like the 002 upper. But again, of course, it's thinner underfoot. I'm not gonna swap the insoles on the way back. Just leave them in the back of the pack here. My quads feel fine, so I think in turn, that's helping my feet feel fine. I don't notice any real impact on the way down here, so no need to swap them out. Maybe if I do kind of more reviewing, I'll do more testing with the stock 001 setup. But for now, I'm just gonna carry on this experiment here. Back over the backside that I just ran down a little bit earlier. Over the top, back down to where I started. Probably gonna go with this vest setup at River of No Return, Instinct Evolution 7 liter. Have been trying out the dual quiver more, so I'm more used to it. Have to check maybe the pictures or profile that race to see if or how much I need poles. I think it's about actually 68 miles, so they're probably good to have. And if maybe I'm not going to use them as much as a very steep kind of 100-miler, I think the dual quiver setup is definitely more comfortable. I hardly notice it. It's more ergonomic, more spaced out across my back. I don't feel like it's kind of pulling on my right shoulder and twisting out of alignment. So if the poles are going to be stowed a lot of the time, I do like to, you know, I like this setup where I don't really feel it that much. It's pretty nice. And I've gotten used to, you know, taking them out and stowing them one at a time. I've still got these 16-ounce Hydro Pack Ultraspire salt flasks here with the cap here that flips open in the straws. I think I had that in my review video, same setup there. I think I just like it, it's easy to refill. The ones, I believe, are 600 ml from Instinct. I don't know, these feel, when they're full right out the gate, at least for me at my size, feels like a lot up front. And the 600 ml times 2 feels like even more. So I like this, you know, it feels a little bit much right at the start, but then once you start drinking even maybe 2 to 4 ounces out of each, then it feels rock solid. And I'll throw an extra soft flask in the back like I have now, 16 or maybe the 27-ounce one that I have to check the distance between aid stations before I head over there. Maybe 5-10 minutes or so to the top of this summit here, try to finish off these bottles, and then I'll swap out that spare from the back up front for the last 30-minute descent or so. Heel hold is actually good in this shoe, despite the potential issues with that heel cup, Achilles area. It does have a nice shape to it. It wraps around and on top of my heel bone really nicely. I'm hiking up pretty steep here. It's flexing with my foot. My heel does not want to come up at all. It's really in there. I could feel, you know, that back vertical part against my Achilles, but it is not rubbing. Maybe I just have the heel bone slash Achilles shape that kind of slots in nicely with this design. And if you don't, that kind of sucks, but it's fine for me now. Don't notice anything at all. Tricking me again here. A little more to go. All right, just hitting the top here. 137, just short of 9 miles, about 3,700 feet of gain. Gotta head back down. Gonna switch out my water bottles before I go down. I think it's a little shallower relatively than this down and up I just did. So that's my preferred bottle right there up front. This I had in the back, like this right here. That's great. I don't have like a flat cap for my extra, so I'm just gonna switch this out. A little tricky here. I don't want to spill this. I want to drink this. That's my little personal aid station fill up. Bam. Okay, don't put that in the dirt. This pack is great because I could also, you know, if I want to do an extended run without water, I could put 1.5 liters, maybe 2 liters back here where I have my insoles right now, and then have the 2 up front. Possibly do a hand flask if I really need to, so I could bring a lot of water if I needed to. Yeah, look, just quick look at this ankle collar. See how it's just a little bit loose. I didn't get too much more in there actually. It's pretty sandy, pretty dry, and didn't get too much in, but in a race, I'd want to cover this up. Big old swig here, kind of even out the weight. I'm not gonna go down that steep part actually. I'm gonna take these little roundabout ways right now because it's definitely loose and I don't want to slip and bust my tailbone up this close to the race. If it was a little further out, I would run that steep part. Still good downhill running here though. The midsole here is actually a Vibram foam. I'd never heard of that before, at least in any kind of notable trail shoe. If you know of any shoes that have a Vibram midsole foam, let me know in the comments. I'd be curious. I can't not think of any. It's definitely not as energetic, not as high response. I just tested the Mount to Coast T1 PIBA based, and that one certainly feels bouncier, cushier, but this one definitely feels more stable. Platform's a little different here. Geometry is also a little different, but foam is also denser, firmer, not as bouncy. Certainly noticeable that the foam is on the kind of dense, firmish side without having that TPU insole in there. That TPU insole really does kind of take the sting out of it. I mean, there is a reason why ortholite insoles sell shoes, and it's not performance. The TPU here is far superior than an ortholite because it does give that cushy feel, kind of takes the edge off of a firmer midsole, kind of like what I have in this setup right now. But that TPU is better than the Ortholite, of course, because it's not going to soak up water like the open cell foam in Ortholite. So the stock setup with the 001, the TPU, you have that soft, nice feeling, bouncy-ish layer, at least in terms of feel underfoot. You've got that right up against your foot, and then the firmer Vibram midsole, whatever it is, I'm assuming EVA, possibly EVA blend, that gives you more control closer to the ground. So a lot of people really, really love this shoe and say, if it weren't for the heel, or, you know, if the heel doesn't give them problems, they just really love this shoe. And I can see why. It doesn't have the real dynamic feel as, you know, some of the super foams out there. Of course, 005 being one of them, but it's really solid underfoot. I mean, I'm mainly going up and down here, not so much runnable, flat and fast, maybe certain parts, but in this kind of steep up and down, especially with this kind of more stout Vibram setup than the 005, it's definitely feeling more stable than a lot of those super foamed shoes. I mean, really great for training, of course. You don't want to be bounced around too much in steep terrain. You like to be able to keep your feet and not take any major spills on stuff like this. Knock on wood. Just popped my fourth gel about an hour 50 in. This is a scenario where in the past I definitely wouldn't have had that gel. I mean, probably wouldn't have had 4 gels to begin with on this long of a run, but with 20, maybe 25 minutes to go, I would have been like, well, I just had a gel on my way up to the top there. I'll be fine, I'll make it to the end. Why take another gel? But times have changed for sure. Pop that gel, even if you're close to the end. It's gonna help me maybe not have that kind of lag, maybe at the very end, and surely help me recover quicker. I won't feel as empty or spent at the end of this run. Ouch, that one hurt. Stepped right on a rock. So this is actually a motorcycle trail, designated motorized use here. A lot of dirt bikes. That's why you probably notice running over these rollers all the time, really short rollers, is actually pretty annoying. Breaks up your rhythm a lot, but on the other hand, it's actually probably pretty good for a downhill, eccentric quad stimulus, that constant, I don't know, let's see what I got going on here. Up, down, up, step down. Just really puts a little more pounding into the quads, which is probably good for training. See what I'm talking about here? In the winter, it's just like icy puddles in each little dip here. Up and down. It's like Excite Bike. Does anybody remember that? Second to last little rise here before the end. Just ran by this guy again. Same guy? I don't know. Getting my feet wet here, really just to cool off. Very close to the trailhead, so not enough time to really wet test, but feels good. It's hot. I did actually want to see how much sand I had in my shoes at the end of this run, but that water's kind of gonna mess up that test, so just have to take my word for it. Fine sand does get in here. I could feel it. Not too much of a bother though. Just coming up to the finish right here, past 207, 4,000 feet on the dot, and 12.5 miles. So, solid training run, 8 days out from the race. Gonna have to go back and look at that previous training run I glanced at before I came out here. 2:08 does seem pretty quick considering I went the whole way down and back up. I'm not sure if I did that last time. Definitely felt more comfortable on this one. But the legs felt fine throughout. Not saying it's the shoes, but certainly fueling, hydration, feeling fitter. I don't actually have any clue when that last run was, but I'm sure I'm feeling fitter now. The quads are definitely in better shape, so just more easily able to handle the downs and just keep the pace rolling. Successful long run experiment here. Norda 001, 2 hours 8 minutes. Really wanted to suss out the heel thing. Anybody's skeptical? Nothing. No problems at all. The heel Achilles area. The Achilles area. Yeah, it's pretty much this right here that was concerning to me. I know is concerning to others, but I'd say I'm good, which makes me happy in this shoe. There you go. All good. 008s here for comfort. Take a quick look here. Very flexy here. This wouldn't really make a difference if I had the regular insole here. This Vibram, it feels kind of thick and dense. It's a healthy stack. Very stable. I like Norda's platform. Stays wide. All three of their models, 001, 02, 05, are like this. They kind of stay wide here, and they're not as much pulled in, and it's just a really solid base on the ground there. This one, 001, 05, they're all kind of similarly flexible. This is very solid training shoe. I probably would have been fine with the TPU insole there, a little bit of extra cush, but with this one here, kind of works the feet a little more. Feet have to do a little bit more work, a little bit more ground feel, which is not a bad thing when you're out there training. I kind of like this setup. I would probably maybe vary it back and forth, just depending on how I feel. If I went with the TPU insole, I would probably go, again, I was concerned about this rubbing, so I went with this like thicker, has a little bit more heel padding there. If I was going to go with that TPU one, which I've got right here, you can see here, then I would go with one of my Darn Tough ultralights, because this would lose volume and I'd want to offset that with a thinner sock, especially now that I know that I don't really have any heel issues. Maybe with a thinner sock it might be, maybe I might feel it more, but I suspect not. Given that I felt nothing with this sock, I think I'll be fine with the other one too. So I'll continue to test this out, maybe do some more, maybe comparison with the 002 or maybe other shoes. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, of course. I'll be doing a full review of these 008s here. We're going to check out the stack height, the drop, the lugs on this one, ground feel, maybe an A/B test. Get excited. Have a great day out on the trails.